It's time, Fnatic NiP. I've got a smile on my face. That got me excited, and our job here is to go ahead and hopefully get you excited as well. The debut game here on the main stream for Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2017. Time does fly, and we'll see if time has been the healer of all wounds for Fnatic and NiP. Introducing my panel once again, though, Chad Birchall and Janko Paunovic joining me. Gents, we haven't got the most time, so we're going to have to dive straight into the nitty-gritty with these two Swedes. We've already kind of elaborated upon the fact that they are not what they once were. And so now the question is, where are they? What kind of form have we seen from them recently? I think, Janko, I want to start with you and the Fnatic kind of dialogue regarding, I mean, they haven't been together that long. How much leeway do we give them before we start expecting results?
It's an interesting question, simply because you look at these players and their attitude in general. Now you see them in interviews, we need more time, it's just been a week. This team would never, like a year ago, say something like that. This lineup has never made it, except for Columbus, below top 4 at a tournament. Last week in Vegas, they don't make it past the group stages. So you can see that the times have definitely changed when it comes to the landscape in the scene. They will definitely need more time and a change of style in order to be as dominant as before.
And I mean, as dominant as they were in 2016, just a year ago, they lifted that trophy. We got to see what they were capable of on this very stage, in this very arena. How times have changed, Chad.
Yeah, it's crazy like what happened last year towards the end with the whole Godsent little mix around. And
how would you do a TLDR for that, for anyone that was missed? It's not easy, right?
Can. Just Google it.
Okay,
It'll be on the internet somewhere.
Because I mean, we had a document where we were looking through the Swedish. It was like 5 or 6 iterations within a year of just Swedes moving between 2, if not 3 teams.
Yeah, it was crazy to see, and all because at the time they didn't want to fix the issues they had. They thought they could just move around and keep playing that style. Yeah. I think it's been humbling for them, and then they get a chance now to do things, I guess, the right way, or at least the way that the meta has shifted. And they have the skilled players and the people, the dedication in the team to be able to pull it off. So it's going to be interesting to see which Fnatic shows up today. I hope we see that one from online where they're a little bit more structured, which is an interesting thing to say in itself. Structured online usually don't go together.
Yeah, no, but I mean, lots of things don't go together. The fact that's interesting to me, you've already highlighted that Fnatic's attitude has changed. Flush has already tweeted as well, saying that the change we've made between Vegas and now is like astronomical. That's paraphrasing, of course, but he's already saying that they've made a big change between what was essentially, I mean, how long ago was that? Time?
A week. I mean, they have like 3 or 4 days to practice, so I'm not really sure, about that statement. We'll have to see, but good to see some confidence coming out of Flusher.
Which you need. You definitely do need. Now, confidence, that's an intriguing line of thought to go into NiP as well, Janko. The Ninjas in Pyjamas, a team that I think confidence has been one of the many problems that's plagued this roster, a team that actually holds the record for the most consecutive wins in this very game.
Confidence or the lack of it, right? They've had a miserable couple of months. I mean, you tell someone a year ago that NiP won't be able to qualify for a major, they'll tell you that you're crazy, but it's exactly what happened to them. They've had a string of really bad results, some really, huge losses as well, by huge margin, like 16-2 losses. You would never see NiP get beaten that bad. So I think this is a tournament because there's a month break after this. This is where if they have another bad run, that's when you seriously have to question, okay, is it time that we make a roster change, and that roster change isn't Pit, that it's one of the 4 core players, right?
Yeah, I mean, the names have been in that roster for oh so long. Chad, is this the proving ground for NiP? Is this where they have to get the big result that keeps this roster glued together?
Yeah, it's a weird one because Virtus Pro, the home team, are one that show that sticking together can actually be a really good thing.
Sure.
Whereas NiP, for whatever reason, they can't seem to find a mixture of either styles, roles, or the 5th player that makes this team work. I was more excited by these guys when they had Makaleli. That's nothing against Pit. I just thought he was more explosive in this roster. They must be looking at that, right? As an organization as well, they want to see results. You can't just have the team constantly, unless you're more than happy just to have a top 10 team, chugging along, which they definitely are. You've got to decide in which direction you want to take.
But I mean, these players as well as I do. That doesn't sound like
hungry.
That's not something that I can imagine they would be interested in.
To be a professional Counter-Strike player, you have to have a winning mentality, and you're always hungry. You want to improve. So, as a team, they're probably going to want to go for a change. I don't know what that would possibly be, or who they would look at, or how drastic it needs to be.
Sure.
But for sure, this for them is a big deal.
And they are in, as it's been dubbed on the desk, the easier of the 2 groups. Good chance to get good, strong placing and make a run here in Katowice. Yeah. But the first game, of course, is a stepping stone number 1. Their opponents, Fnatic, have had some weak moments, some highs and some lows. Now, Janko, you have the telestrator for one of their lows, I believe. What have you got for us today?
It's actually a comparison for Fnatic of last year to Fnatic of this year, right? Because we always talk about them, how they're very individualistic, how it was basically abnormal that they were successful for such a long period of time, relying on individual performances, right? So we picked out a couple of clips from Cobblestone, which illustrates how exactly did they play and what's the difference. So you will see first, like from the Vegas tournament on Cobblestone, around where there's a minute left on the clock, still a lot of time, but they want to end the round. JW is already dead. He tried to do something in drop zone, so you can see how this player towards the drop zone will be able to focus alongside his teammates who are here, and they will all be able to focus on this platform area. Now you can start playing the clip. Everyone's coming over. There's not a lot of utility being used. You look at Fnatic, they still have 3 smokes, a Molotov, and 4 flashes, and they basically just get decimated by the Virtus Pro players. You can see how they're in a perfect line. They can't get past Snacks. Pasha is up close with the Mag 7 as well, and the round just falls apart from them. Now, the other game is from last year versus Kingwin. You can even see, versus G2 actually, you can even see that it's the old version of Cobblestone. Yeah. But you can pause here for a second, and you can see how all the players are actually in the same line. Never mind, it switched, but all the players were actually in the same line. They were the communication was great. You could see how they're just splitting the bomb site and how they're doing a great job of communicating and trading frags. It's nothing flashy, it's nothing like complex, but you can see that it's a lot more crisp and a lot more on point than to what it was last week at Vegas. And it tells you that it's not as easy. Actually, it's a lot more difficult to play the same style now as it was a year ago.
So not necessarily. I mean, so this is an intriguing one. Not necessarily Fnatic are not at their same form. I'm sure there is some discrepancy, but it's not just that. It's also that the game has moved since when they were at their peak, Chad.
Yeah, the meta's definitely changed. This map itself has changed since then.
Sure.
So that could be a contributing factor. You need to use a bit more utility on that platform to stop people coming up the stairs. You have an extra angle to worry about. The way that we're seeing teams use strategies is changing. There's a lot more emphasis, I think, now on focusing heavy on the fundamentals. Before, you know, Fnatic could get away with free-flowing Counter-Strike because teams weren't so strict, but everyone's at such a high level now where if you don't have the fundamentals tight, you're not a top 10 team. So they can't just get away with running in and headshotting anymore because there's always going to be that trade frag, or they're always prepared for their faster play. You find teams not being as stubborn as well. They're willing to play against a certain play style. They're not just going to run, you know, their style all the time. They're going to adapt mid-game, and that's important.
Especially when it is down to these best of ones. We always say anyone can win in a best of one. It does depend on, you know, how you show up and what you bring to the table on that map. And of course, we have to bring it up. It is time for those map vetoes. Best of one, so chances are we end up in a map middle ground between these two teams. We can just start rattling through it, Chad, but I know you've taken a gander at what how this one went down.
Yeah, so we're going to, there's a coin toss here to decide who starts the veto process. You can either pick to start the A team, who gets 1 veto in the beginning, or the B team, who gets 2 vetoes, and then it gets A, B, B, AA, and then B. So B technically decides. NiP decided to choose B. They started, that means Fnatic started the ban process, banning Nuke, which is a standard ban for them. You know, they probably haven't really practiced that one. It's very strategical, not really something which lends to their strengths. NiP followed up with bans on Mirage and Train, two sensible bans for them. They don't really play Mirage. Fnatic have removed Cobble and Overpass after that. And then the remaining maps were Inferno and Cache, and NiP removed Inferno, which is interesting for NiP. I thought they might be a bit mentally scarred on Cache. Really.
Yeah. And what, I don't know, this is probably completely uninteresting for anyone other than myself, but I brought up the veto process from when these teams met in Katowice. Of course, these guys met last year, another best of one, same rosters, and the veto process was identical, except Fnatic banned the maps NiP have banned, and NiP banned the maps Fnatic have banned. Fun facts for you.
Amazing that changed.
It's completely flipped on its head. Yeah, that's it. That's the top tier analysis I'm here for. But yeah, that's kind of cool. That's new. And of course, Inferno was in the map pool back then as well. Inferno was played. It was 16-14 to Fnatic last time.
I mean, the story of Cache and NiP is very interesting. They were the best team in the world for the first half of last year, and then it became a map that was terrible for them. You saw the stat that it's still up, that they lose to Vega Squadron and get eliminated from the major qualifier by losing 16-2 on the T side. So they, like, as CT lost 13-2. Same thing happened to them against Flipside at the Cologne major, which was the third map that eliminated them from that game as well. So definitely a map that has fallen from grace for them, and they will need to they'll have to find a way to deal with the individuals of Fnatic that can be more loose on a map like Cache.
Yeah, there is no doubt NiP need a flying start in Katowice just to get the wind beneath their sails, not getting to the major. Poor performance and disappointing for them over in Vegas, and now they stand here in Katowice desperate to put a big result on the board and perhaps even a trophy in the cabinet. Chad, I'm going to start poking you for some form of prediction. We are going into Cash, NiP, Fnatic. What on earth do you have to say about this one?
Look, I'm leaning towards Fnatic based off of what I've seen from them online.
Sure.
I think that they are going to be better prepared. The amount of executes as well that the NiP can throw at them isn't anything lavish. You can't really pull out any gimmicks on Cash anymore. Everything's basically been done, right? So and you play against it so often that you know how to react as second nature. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt there. I also think that NiP, you know, there's always going to be those mental demons. If they have a slow start, which they normally do in best of ones, they're not in a best of 3. You know, this could be the other way around. But in a best of 1, I think Fnatic's the skill level, the amount of players that can step up when they need to, and the new mentality that they're coming in with, I think Fnatic are going to take it.
Okay, giving Fnatic some form of edge. It has always been a map that they have thrived on in any form of roster. What are you saying, Yanko?
True, I'm going to go with Fnatic as well. I think Crims is going to lock that B bomb side down. It's going to be interesting to see how they adapt to NiP taking control of checkers and all of that jazz. But I just think that they seemed very dysfunctional at Vegas, and Threat was there and he was able to speak for the whole time. He's not here, so I don't really see them like improving in such a short period of time a tremendous amount. So I'm going with Fnatic.
Okay, 2 for Fnatic, and we can, of course, continue to fish for predictions at our caster desk. 2 here are thinking Fnatic might just take it like they did last year here in Katowice. We'll check in with your casters, though. It's my pleasure to introduce both Moses and Pansy, who are going to be guiding you through our first game.
The road to redemption begins for one of these 2 teams here in the group stages at IEM Katowice 2017. Legendary in both of their own rights, both having their own trials, tribulations, and we're going to find out what that accumulates to here on Cash for the first map. And of course, I'm not alone in bringing you this game. I'm joined by the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Jason Moses O'Toole. How you doing?
The living legend.
Yeah, the living legend in comparison to the dead ones.
Yeah. How we doing here? Yeah, this is going to be good. I mean, more tribulations for both of these teams certainly in recent times, especially considering this year. I know the desk talked a lot about it, but I mean, NiP, the best win they've had this year is over Cloud9 in a series, and for Fnatic, I mean, it's crazy to think this is a team that their only win this year. I mean, it has been a short time with this roster, but was against Misfits. So both these teams,
that's a stat, isn't it?
yeah, they've lost quite a few to teams that normally in the past you'd expect them to beat. So, yeah, we'll just have to see how these rosters are going to be moving forward, how this Fnatic team performs, and how they kind of grow back into this. They were so very dominant I mean, they are the reigning Katowice champions.
Yeah, God, no, that's...
God bless. That was a long
that's
time
mad
ago.
to think about, isn't it? It feels like a lifetime ago, and of course, this is pretty much rising from the ashes for I guess the Fnatic Phoenix as such, pulling this roster back together, hoping it all works. And I think there's been so many questions about, can they get back to that, I guess, form? Can you play that same playstyle after the internal issues that could have happened? There's a lot of kind of theorizing about that, but I guess the proof is in the pudding, in the game, right?
Yeah, that'd be the interesting thing, because I mean, all we can really make of this Fnatic team as well is, you know, like from some of the tweets and interviews we see from the Fnatic guys who are saying we are gonna have to work harder, we're gonna have to change things, we're gonna have to make this work. But I mean, still, some of the words that I've heard from players that have just practiced against them or boot camped against them leading into this event is still like it's a very, very similar style to what they've always done, which is a, you know, very individual pug heavy style, very, very aggressive. And it's a lot of what like Taz brought up, I think it was in Vegas at DreamHack Masters when he said, you know, they play a game where, you know, if their aim is on, they're probably going to win. And if it's not on, they just kind of lose. So, I mean, it all depends on what kind of form these guys are going to show up in.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen this roster on Cash yet on LAN. That's the one thing we got to look at as well. There's been a couple of online games going past. You know, we already spoke, I think it was Chad on the desk brought up Pro League being out there. Some good signs against G2, you know, a couple of maybe a little bit more structured, but again, does that keep up on LAN? Can they replicate that again? Will it be red? But, you know, it's not like they're facing off against a team who doesn't have their own issues. NiP are plagued with problems. It seems, you know, these two teams have had the highest highs and the lowest lows, but yeah. NiP, there is a bit of a cloud hanging over their head at the moment.
Not to mention, I mean, if you follow some of the players on Twitter, I mean, Exist had plenty of travel problems getting here, and the only reason I mentioned that is because I believe he got in like pretty late yesterday. Yeah. So they've had very, very little warm up and practice leading into this event, where most teams had like a day to mess around on the PCs. NiP really didn't. On top of that, you know, one thing that's, you know, through some of the issues they had even throughout last year, one of the big things that saved them and made them look even better was Threat. Now they had Threat at Vegas, and they still didn't look like they were in top form, and now they don't have them here. So they are a big question mark coming into this. And you have to mention as well, despite struggles, Cash is a map that Fnatic has always liked. I mean, this is a map like, yeah, NiP used to be very good on it. They're going to be comfortable on it. But, I mean, this is also one of the better maps for this Fnatic team at the moment.
Yeah, Fnatic, let's say in 2016, so with this exact roster, during that time, they won it 13 times at LAN, only lost it 5. And these were against tier 1 teams. So these guys were good on Cash. So there's no disputing it. Yeah, you always have to have the precursor of where you need a couple of players to stand up individually, but that roster is filled with them. You just have to see which one it's going to be.
And it also lends itself to the kind of individual aggression that you can have. You know, this map, those individual plays you can make, Fnatic, you know, loves that. They're going to thrive on maps that allow that. And I mean, plenty of opportunities for JW to push door and find something as CT, push into A main, get information. Fnatic, I mean, on top of their individual playstyle, some of the kind of teamwork that they're able to do, some of that, it sometimes seems very, very subtle because of how they play, but it is kind of based off information gathering. And this is a map where on CT especially, you can gain a lot of information with kind of mid-round aggressive peaks into A main. You know, over towards B, you can push up, you can peer towards, you know, useless room. So, and sun room, I mean, there are things you can do on this map that Fnatic, you know, is going to play right into their wheelhouse.
Yeah, and NiP known at the start of last year now having a great Cash. It got worked out, it fell apart, so they've got to pull together the pieces, have a little bit of a throwback, I guess you can kind of almost phrase it as, to be able to pull this one through. It's not going to be an easy game. It's a very hard start to the group for these two teams. I can imagine mentally coming into this, both need that good start. NiP known, if they have a bad start, they can sometimes struggle to recover. Fnatic, complete opposites, known for those comeback abilities, and I think we're actually ready to get this one underway. So, Moses, where are your predictions in this one? Yeah,
I agree with the desk. I'm going to stick with Fnatic in this. Just because I think this is, you know, a map that I actually think that NiP, I don't know if I would have let this through, because you have to imagine with kind of the rosters, yes, this is a roster that played together for a long time with Fnatic, but it's been a while. They've only been together for, what, about a month now. So you have to imagine NiP has had time to build kind of a deeper map pool, even if they're feeling a little bit lack of confidence, even if they're feeling a little bit disjointed in certain ways. One of their strengths is the fact that they have had this roster together for some time. So that's where you can say the map pool would be a little bit deeper. So I personally probably would have gone away from Cash, but I'm just going to take Fnatic in this.
Yeah, I'm with the desk with you on this one. I'd love to see NiP do well. There's nothing I'd love to see more. There's something about NiP when they come to Katowice. They've had their moments here. I'd love to see it again, but it's not looking so likely, I guess, if you look previously. But things can change, things can happen.
One of the benefits, though, to this format that we have in Katowice is, you know, the larger groups, but also, you know, this group is played out, gets played out completely today. So it's not just like one match and then you're done for the day. They're going to be playing multiple throughout this day. So, I mean, even if they start slow, they can kind of build into things. You can kind of start getting into the groove a little bit as the day wears on. So you can recover after a slow start if that does happen for either of these teams.
Yeah, and Fnatic won the knife, so they'll get to pick side in a moment once they get themselves ready on the server. But yeah, I think Fnatic looking good. And I want to look at JW as well individually as a player, because he had a phenomenal game against G2 just recently. You saw a little bit of a glimpse of, you know, the classic JW that people love to
Seeing that
about.
more and more.
Yeah, and it's a dangerous thing to see. It gets you a little worried if you're thinking of any other team to come up against them. If JW goes off, you have a map like Cash. This is like a nice arena for him to show what he can do here. Yeah,
and the other person as well is JW, because we saw even in Godsent, you know, even at the major qualifier, we saw that old kind of JW starting to get back into it, and it's been consistently improving. But the other player is Crims at the major, was lights out. And that's someone who, he's a big piece of this puzzle for Fnatic to get back to where they were, because if you're going to have him anchoring down bomb sites, one of the best players historically at doing it, and that lends itself, that allows Fnatic to have so much more confidence on the other side of the map. If they have Crims on one side anchoring down a bomb site, that's when they can get aggressive. On the other side, that's when they can make plays. Some of their players can have that, you know they have that safety net of Crims. So if he's playing stellar, that opens up a lot of doors for Fnatic.
Yeah, I think a little bit of panic went around when this lineup came back, then Inferno came into the map pool, and then it was like, oh god, Crims on B. You know, it's just that flashback moment of like, no one wants this. No one wants this at all. But he's certainly very, very capable on maps like this. I think even Yanko highlighted it on the desk earlier. He's someone to keep your eyes on, see how well he plays, how he deals with the NiP side. If they do go for that control they're known for, GetRight loved a good lurk to be on their T side, so it'd be a nice little matchup between GetRight and Crims if it happens.
Yeah, if we're talking players, you know, we just mentioned a couple on Fnatic with JW and Crims, but on the NiP side, I mean, we do need to see GetRight, you know, get back to his big level. I mean, he's a guy who, you know, very well documented. Perhaps one of the worst matches of his career was against Vegas Squadron in the qualifier, where they got knocked out to fail to qualify for the major. And a player like GetRight, that doesn't sit well. You know, he spent the entire holiday break just stewing over that and being extremely, extremely frustrated and angry. So you know, coming into this year, he put a lot of work in. Forrest as well on an individual level. Not many people can eclipse the amount of skill that he has. So we've got to see some of these legends of NiP really start to lead the way for this team back to the top.
Yeah, and GetRight's known to be an emotional player. It's sometimes one of those problems where it can be a massive help on occasion, but when it goes wrong, you feel that pressure, and I'm sure you can see on his face sometimes. He does certainly feel that on these occasions, and as said, he did go a little bit missing recently, so hopefully for him, he can come back and show what he can do. He's a phenomenal player, and he's had some of his best moments in Katowice, so again, he is someone to look at. I think we're having a couple of issues right now as we're not jumping in just yet. Don't worry, guys. I'll keep you updated as soon as I know anything. It is the first day of groups. Do not worry.
Yeah, you know, this is buy some time for NiP. I know when we first joined the server sitting down here, we were watching, who was it, Freiburg
and Forest.
And Forest were the only two in the server, so they had some time to go over the smokes they were going to use, practicing some smokes in the warm-up server. So that was fun to see. So just, you know, maybe buying some extra time for NiP to kind of hash out what they want to do.
Yeah, well, Cash was one of the maps that everyone started to get really excited for the return of, you know, Threat coming into it. They had that really beautifully refined A hit that I guess he brought in a little bit, and NiP had in the kind of back pocket from a very, very long time ago with all the mollies, all the smokes. I want to see it. I want to see if they can kind of pull these sort of things out on their T side. I want to see that creative kind of more, I guess, structured play style. It's something that they can depend on a little bit more than Fnatic, I can imagine. But again, it's not like Fnatic coming in completely underprepared.
I mean, if you take Fnatic out of the history books as like one of the better cash teams, like all the good cash teams have always had like really, really nice set executes with those Molotovs. This is a map especially where you can see kind of like the genius of using Molotovs, because when you take these bomb sites, there's so many crossfires that can be set up in each one, so many different places that players can be in. So Molotovs are critical to hitting these sites. I mean, you know, you think the B bomb site, you can pretty much carpet that with Molotovs and really eliminate positions where players can be. Over towards the A bomb site, you can molly, you know, quad, you can molly the MBK corner, and then you just kind of eliminate areas where you have to check, so you increase your probability of being able to take over the site.
Oh, that was the infamous thing with one of the French rosters. I think it was G2 at the time, trying to recall the French roster in their current position, but they had that beautiful anti-eco on their T side where they'd just molly out everything on B, have this beautifully constructed hit. It was something that just blew my mind. I think Sean Garris was the one who pointed out, like, don't underestimate the French sides on this map. Don't think they're just that random fast team. They do play a slow style, and they have that really well-defined B hit. So many teams have that classic, like, known for hit, don't they? You've got Astralis have those deep smokes down by the truck. on the A hit, on their T side. You have so many things that really define these teams, but I think the players are back in the server, so this should be started up pretty soon. But I want to see what comes through from these teams. I want to see what they've been working on. I want to see why they've gone for this. You know, it was down between Inferno and Cash, and well, you know, NiP also had a great Cash game previously, a long time ago, you know, Inferno game, but it's not come through. So clearly they picked their poison. I think we are finally live into this one. So we Fnatic on the T side, NiP on the CT side to start off IEM Katowice 2017.
And nothing too crazy coming out in the pistol run. I mean, both teams, Fnatic just kind of spread out into a little bit of a default, looking for pushes. Flush is so far back, so if Forrest continues on this route, that could be where he gets caught off guard, and this is going to be a big duel. Oh, wow! There it is, starting these out so nicely.
If Forrest gets going on a pistol, you know this is going to be a big game. This guy is just beautiful on that sort of work, but it's forced Fnatic to make a bit of a move now, and it looks like they're kind of, I guess, tendering towards A at this point. Pit is the only man standing towards the site. Everyone else is kind of working their way over, playing a little bit on the retake. Get right, playing highway, exist by truck, but the bomb's going to go down, planted for main, and it's a 5v4 retake now.
Yeah, but this is a nice position from Pit. If he can get this one kill here, this is crucial, but he can't. So Olaf Meister now has control of the forklift, and that's a massive power point for this retake.
It's almost the linchpin to try and play back in on this site. A lovely crossfire now set. Dennis just jumping up for a little bit of info, spots out the players possibly towards highway, and Crims can now play back in as well, just keeping himself safe by the bomb. And NiP are running out of time here and options already. Forrest gets his head taken off, and there we go. Finally a bit of a bite back. Exist is the one doing it. They do have a kit on Freiburg, so he's down to JW, and he knows the lineup. He's got to see it! JW with 2 big kills. He's buying time perfectly. But now the defuse again. Exist holds it down. It's his only option. And JW's was, well, to take off his head.
Unreal. That was such a beautiful retake for NiP, but just a little bit of gap in that main smoke. But I mean, they retake control of forklift. That smoke off in A main. 2 Fnatic players there couldn't defend against it. And that's just so Fnatic to win a 1-on-3 like that. NiP gets that 1 kill in A main, and they think it's clear from there, but JW surprises. Pretty simple pistol round from Fnatic as well. Forrest gets that pick off on Flusha, who's watching for a B push, and Fnatic just says, all right, we lose control of B. Let's just throw the 1 smoke, and we'll get in towards A. A retake strategy for NiP, and the pistol doesn't pan out for him. That's a crushing way to lose a pistol round.
Yeah, it really is. We did have the nukes kind of going off for NiP here. Loads of nades brought up, all utilized now. Not much done either. Fnatic just waiting. You can see GW boosted up on towards red, just watching for that mid push in case it comes through. Everyone taking their time. Flusha holding useless for him, spraying a little bit towards Get Right. They could get a boost going here though. Olaf seems aware this could be a possibility as the main smoke came in. So that could be checked upon, but it's kind of hard to play in towards that. But we'll see what can happen now. NiP basically, it's all on them to make the damage happen. 2 rifles coming in as well for Fnatic. They're not taking this one lightly.
Yeah, and this is the same setup that Fnatic had in that pistol. Flush over towards B, JW just watching for a mid push, and the other 3 players focused on A. So coming out, making sure there's going to be no aggression. There is small investment from NiP, but you know, they're not fully invested into the round with some of these upgrades and utility, but they're just trying to play a delay tactic with this boost, hoping eventually Fnatic comes here, and with the bodies, they'd be able to distract Fnatic from checking exist up in that boost.
Yeah, we'll see how this one pans out. Dennis just waiting anti-flash pretty much for anyone to come through. If they did go for a bit of main play, he can always just trade off it, but they're going to slowly work in. So ice towards exist here, Pit as well. Get Right, they're the ones focused towards A, so they're the ones who are about to receive the big hit, and there we go. Get Right falls already, but that might play in the others, and it has. Pit made the moment happen. There's the bite as well from exist, but there's nothing more to be found. Pit can be a nuisance here, though.
Yeah, I mean, they've done decent damage. They've got a couple kills, and this would be huge if he could find that, but he's not able to do it. NiP, it almost worked out. You could see the idea, a little bit of distraction coming in, but good trades from Fnatic. And this is that's an interesting round from Fnatic just because of how slow they played it. We haven't seen, I mean, this is maybe some of that structure that they talked about they were incorporating, but a very, very slow and cautious anti-eco from Fnatic. They lose 2 and get 2 rounds on the board.
Yeah, rifles kept though, so no massive loss there. They're fine with just building their way through this. NiP just have to suffer at this point as well. There's nothing much you can do in these rounds. But yeah, this looks like a little bit of a, I guess not necessarily a new approach for Fnatic, but it seems a little bit more cautious. Has a little bit more of an air of, all right, we're just not going to run you over. We're going to have a little bit of respect. Let's play this out properly. Let's get every round on the board. Round by round, we're going to pick this game up. So we'll see how this one pans out for them. It looks so far like NiP just going to go for a bit of a B push. Try and maybe catch out one of the players, but there's 3 here this time, and it's not just going to be Flusha.
There is 1 flashbang on Pit over towards that B site, so as soon as Forrest sees contact, maybe shoots 1 bullet, that's when the flashbang would come out from Pit. So they're going to try and time some kind of push out of this B bomb site when Fnatic is in the choke point. But the one X factor, the one thing that could throw that all to ruin is if that B aggression comes in. So holding off on the flashbang, and that's unfortunate because Forrest was a big piece of that puzzle if they wanted to make that successful, and I think it's just going to collapse from here. Krim spots one mid, and he's just going to be passive with it. Meanwhile, the B push is on, and NiP's got nothing.
Yeah, the flash was used, didn't work. Dennis, Olaf just worked their way in. Not looking too scathed just yet. JW had a little bit of a scuffle, but he's fine. He's just waiting for the others to clear the site, checking towards checkers, making sure that's not where the player is. But already the information's been seen and noted, but Exist gets a nice shot towards Krim. So that's a gun recovered for him, but I don't see much more happening. Surely not. They've got a nice setup here. Still got utility for the afterplant. I don't see Exist making much more damage.
Yeah, no, probably not. And that's actually pretty cool from Fnatic, is that Krims was watching for that, and I don't even think he had a gun. I think he was just using a pistol. So Exist gets the kill, but he can't recover anything.
Oh, nice.
You know, you think maybe he has a UMP, maybe a weaker weapon, and even if Exist is able to pick that up and he gets one kill with it, that's a gun loss. That's also bonus money. So not even risking anything like that. So good anti-eco from Fnatic, and now we get into the gun round. So now we can start to see, are they going to set up in that default again? Are they going to be a little bit slower paced, or are they going to choose just a point of attack and go for it? And NiP's got a pretty decent buy on this 4th round, which is good to see. They have plenty of nades. They've got a kit. didn't expect this buy to come out. There was a Mac 10 on the board, so that's swapped out for an AK-47 now. It's a 4-on-5, but still plenty of chances for Fnatic to get back into this, and Exist has got to be careful. He's out in the open, and JW doesn't commit too much. Very, very wary of some kind of mid-presence, which is smart, because Exist and Forest have a crossfire set up.
Yeah, there's that 1-3-1 again. Get right solo on A. You've got, I think, Freiburg over at B alone, and then the 3 players pretty much focused towards mid, and it's working out nicely. Now that's when, I guess, the alarm bells are going to start ringing for Fnatic. Exist just got a kill, Pit got one earlier, and I'm pretty sure Forest is there. Okay, we need to start focusing maybe towards these sites, and Get Right just playing towards that MBK corner. Did let Olofmeister out, and he does not need to be let off the leash, because look at him go. Just already finding 2, claims the site himself. But the counter boost comes out, and that will catch 1.
All right, now they have the knowledge that's in those, so they're going to call out the possibility of a fast flank. Flusha and Door is going to try and pick one off, and Olaf, I mean, he's still aggressive, and he has the opening 2 kills to really open this round up for Fnatic, and he's going to get 1 more. That's Freiburg down. Forrest has got to recover. He does have a kit, but only a UMP, and he's got to outplay Olaf here.
Olofmeister read that as well. He knew it, but it didn't matter in the end. Forrest will get it, but Flusha holding the angle, waiting for that push to remain. Exist might fall into this trap, and he does. Now it's the 1v1. Flusha against Forest. Well, he doesn't quite go into the doorway, but it will at least stop the run out, and now the defuse full as you like. Flash comes in, but Forest doesn't move, and it doesn't matter. Flusha swings out, gets the job done, and another will fall on the board for Fnatic, and this is starting to fall by the wayside here for NiP. That was a good start, it felt like, for them. Finally, things were going right in mid, but then Olofmeister struck.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate timing for Get Right playing that so passive that Olaf gets there. But, I mean, this is the Olaf we remembered, right? When he was the best player in the world, and this is what he's doing. NiP, a 2-man advantage. And every time NiP's had an advantage, you think back to the 4th round as well with that brilliant, read on the A defense. Olaf is the one to just shut it down and throw everything into a mess. Another pick in mid, spraying through the smoke. That's 2 rounds in a row for NiP, but they cannot keep giving up this advantage. They have to win this round out. They're down 0-7. They need to get on the board.
Yeah, but for now, this round, they don't really have much map control anywhere. They have no one towards A, they have no one towards mid now, and everyone's focusing towards that B site. 2 players towards the sunroom, got a couple kind of just facing towards mid in case there's that push around the back. But would you expect both players to be on B? Forest and Freiburg, both sat there now. And will this be a constructed piece coming in from Fnatic? This could be a more structured side that we've been waiting to see. What do they have up their sleeves? Here we go, there's the molly here, a little bit of something coming through. Flash comes in, the counter mollies come out, and Fnatic so far just holding on.
No smokes for the NiP members as well to extinguish those Molotovs, so Fnatic now, they have all the advantages. There's 1 down in the site, so they did block off 1. Player to the left, Dennis is going to check this. He sees it, Force wins that battle, but they're slowly going to take over the site. Freiburg's still alive, finds 1 more, and they're slowing this down. They're getting the kills, and NiP in a 3-on-1, and Crims with no HP. This should be the first round on the board for NiP. Any second now as Crims just gets taken out by the nade, and also the first kill from Get Right on the board. Finally, 1-7 NiP. They've got to string rounds together.
Yeah, this has to be back-to-back now. Fnatic looking like they were trying to do a little something, then coming up with a bit of a plan, but as you highlighted, NiP just somehow sticking through that. But we'll see. Here we go, NiP. The big test starts now. You've got to be able to string these rounds together. You cannot allow Fnatic to bite back into this one, and now JW's on the AWP. So that's a new addition as well. We hadn't seen that coming out just yet.
He's going to take that over towards the A bomb site. So he's going to cover his teammates as they kind of walk up around this smoke. And this is no default from Fnatic this round. This is a heavy commitment. 4 players towards the A site, 1 player Flusha lurking in middle. So I expect they pick up the pace here.
But will you expect Pit to be up on this ledge? I'm not too sure just yet. That's something new from him right on the edge of things. Door could be a problem. If they open that squeaky door, there could be issues. But for now, he's just going to try and go anti-flash, turn around, suffer through this one. No one's actually pushed from Fnatic yet, though.
I mean, this is good utility usage from NiP. You can see Fnatic, though, they've used a lot of their own to force out some of the nades of NiP, and they've done a good job of it. But the fact there's 3 players here for NiP, I mean, it doesn't matter. Now it's down to 2. JW with 1 pick. That's what he's there for with the AWP. Catches Get Right off guard.
Yeah, that's a massive issue. Now Exist falls. It's down to just Pit to hold this site. And it's playing perfectly into the hands of Fnatic here. They've slowed down the pace. They hit the brakes after that quick flurry of the utility being put to use. And now we might see the hit starting to come in. 48 seconds. And it does look as though it is time to go, but Pit waits. He waits so patiently, takes down 1, executes Olofmeister, but there's nothing more to be found. Maybe go a little too early on that, and it's down to Freiburg on the side. The crossfire not in place, but it's Forest around the back on the flank. Now it's a 2v2, but Dennis will not relent, and now it's down to Forest. Mollied out Flusha, that works, that's the bomb. Can he deny Dennis the round to give Fnatic their 8th as he waits, and he knows Dennis has to play back into this.
Yeah, picks up the AWP as well, just to hold the corner. This is huge Oh, that smoke, though, that is unfortunate for Force. So Dennis, he has some time to toy with this. 10 seconds on the clock, though. He's got to get this bomb. He's going to get back into the site, and Force cannot push through this. Is he going to do it? Is he going to be aggressive while the bomb goes down? A stick by Dennis into this one-on-one, and Force still waiting patiently for the smoke.
I'm pretty sure Dennis is close enough to hear that scope being scoped in. So again, he's aware that this is probably still going to be main. He's not gone for that long play around highway. Forrest has to be so on point here, and it's such a gamble. Which corner will Dennis be waiting in? Forrest just has to guess, make his choice, and stick with it. And here we go, it's Dennis! And there it is, secured in the end. It looked a little dangerous in the end there. But after all, it was Fnatic getting another one, and nothing to be strung together for NiP.
Yeah, and that's a pretty brutal reset as well. So NiP only get one before losing another. And I mean, that was a little bit NiP, another time where they seem to know what's coming. They had 3 members again on that A bomb site, but just kind of crumbled under the pressure. Fnatic, just, you know, 1 or 2 players using utility. NiP responds with their own to slow things down, and then Fnatic coming out with it again. Oh, and there's a nice shot from Flush. He knows he's going to get pushed. Good positioning, a second one. I don't think there's much more he can do. Almost hits the no-scope. And Exists, he's holding off this B hit, but not for long. And there's the MAC-10 coming in, so it's all shut down. 3-on-1. And Forrest, the man in that loses that 1-on-1 in the previous round. It's 9-1 Fnatic now.
It's starting to get a little bit brutal.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah, it's not a pretty sight for NiP. We said it was already highlighted on the desk. You want them to have a nice start. You want them to have something to build up. You want that confidence. Of course, there is the fact that there's a little bit more play today for them, so they can build up later into the group stage. It's not just one and done. But still, just mentally, you're coming into this. You've had a rough time recently, and this is certainly going to remind you exactly of that. 9-1 right now. JW back on the AWP. Flush not being opted towards that one. And it looks like, again, Fnatic trying something a little different.
More of a bit slowed down. Another lean towards this A bomb site, and I mean, why not? It is 9-1, so they haven't really been stopped anywhere on the map, but especially this A bomb site. Some of these mid-round hits have been so successful, especially as NiP starts to run out of utility. And by the way, they're missing a lot this round. That's a good find. I think that's the 3rd time NiP's opened up a round with a kill through a smoke. Twice in mid, one there for Get Right, but they still haven't been able to win some of these rounds.
I guess you have to take what you're going to get. You know, get anything at this point for them is fine. You know, through smoke or not, I'm pretty sure they'll accept anything. Probably not the ideal start, however. The
issue now is there's only 2 flashbangs on NiP, so plenty of time for plays like this from Fnatic to just walk out to challenge, and Pit's going to be forced out of the corner. There's the pick. Great job from Fnatic. That Molotov, you can see that's why they're so effective on this map.
And already the push comes in, but the cross was being watched this time. No easy push through, no sneaky play through that forklift. It was straight through the side that time, and Exist was there waiting. And the flash is still being retained by NiP, but the problem is Crims now finding Exist. It's a 3v3, but they need to make this hit count. Fnatic is starting to, I guess, tighten the noose, but Get Right's having none of it. He's still on the site, and finally we see him fight back. That's 3 this round. And Crims,
it's not
known for his
AWPing.
not this time.
Still, not much he could do there, and actually that allows NiP to upgrade to a free AWP. They have 3 players survive, which they needed, because you're going to see they're going to have to drop some guns over, and they're going to be very low on economy still. And this is where, I mean, there's still time for them to make a comeback in this map. We've seen this map have a little bit of a T-side lean at times. Yep. The benefit for NiP at the moment is they've actually got the economy finally of Fnatic low. I mean, if they win this, it could be a low buy situation for Fnatic. But they have to, they have to start there, and we'll see. Can they get lucky again with another kill through smoke?
That's not the precursor you want to start for NiP, is it?
I know,
you know what
it seems like such a silly concept to rely on for NiP, but they've had it 3 times. And almost again here with the spray from Exist, the nade on a JW does good damage. This is one of the few rounds it almost looks like NiP could find the advantage in terms of utility into the mid-round.
We'll see if it works out for them. So far, they've always been left wanting towards the hit, finally coming in. It never felt they were in control of it, but this, as you highlighted, could be the first time we see it happening. We'll see if it pans out, though, but...
First time we've seen Fnatic look like they're going to gear up for some kind of mid-pressure, so we'll see how NiP responds to that, because at the moment, they're essentially just giving it up with 1 smoke used by Fnatic. And that's the bomb leading the way as well from Flusha, so he's got to be careful on how he tries to make his presence known.
And mid is pretty much completely absconded at the moment. Exist has found Olofmeister, so that's taken away, I guess, one of those splitting presences. Olofmeister can't be a pest anymore, and Pitt's already aware of this as well. Watching down towards Highway, seeing if anyone's going to play up that far. I don't think Fnatic are going to do it just yet. They can still make the play later into it, but it looks like a B split so far, but Exist gets the information. That's perfectly fine. That's all you need at this point, but he re-peeks into it, and the nade just completely denies him.
That's the danger of that fight, and there goes Freiberg. Peeks out from Checkers. Forrest waiting. There's 1 kill, but they know where he is. He cannot find a second until just now, but he is taken out. Down into a 2-on-2, and control of the B bomb site goes over to Flusha and JW.
making the most of a very bad situation there for us. That could have been so much worse. Yeah, that's not the nade you want to be doing, but still, it is that 2v2, but JW's got the angle on Get Right. That'd be a huge adjustment. If he can hit it, he can't. And now Pit left in one of those situations you just don't want to be in. Playing back in with the orb, never going to be easy, especially against that. Flusher says a big fat no. And Fnatic, again, put another on the board. The first time we've actually seen NiP looking like they had a chance then with the utility. They had everything they needed there. They had that full set. And
another 5-on-4 as well. NiP's dropped a lot of rounds where they've had the man advantage here. So, I mean, this is one of those halves where you look back if you're NiP. If you go back and watch this demo, you're going to be very, very frustrated with some of the rounds you give up. But, I mean, Fnatic has done a great job of finding their kills, of evening things out. Mid-pressure, I mean, NiP just kind of sat back in the sights. They tried to play the contain. It didn't look like Fnatic had a great idea of how they really wanted to abuse that, especially when Olaf went down. But, I mean, Exist maybe overcommitting to that fight on Highway really, really opened things up, because that Highway player is the first player to support and rotate when mid is lost. So once he's down, I mean, the B players just start feeling very, very isolated. And JW, we know him for his ult, but he's showing off with the AK a bit in this anti-eco.
Yeah, just, you know, padding it out. Why not? Might as well if JW gets confident from these sort of things. If he can do a little damage, that's not too bad. Oh.
That's awkward.
That's very awkward.
We did mention he was the one with the late flight last night.
Yep.
So give him a break.
Yeah, did you see the tweet from, I think it was Lufthansa saying, Ninjas don't cry?
It's got to be awkward when you're getting bodied by like an airline.
Well, so far it's not just an airline bodying them. At the moment, 10-2, and a clean round from Fnatic. Nothing to really report in that one, nothing really to be done. And you're starting to look, we just need that buffer at the moment for NiP, just to be able to suffer through to that second half.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get 4 rounds, at least they buy themselves an opening, right?
Yeah.
It is, like you said, that buffer. Now, Olaf started out, I mean, if you look at the scoreboard here, JW's at 16-5, so he's having, obviously, a phenomenal half. But really, a lot of this was the dominance that Olaf established early on. He was the player in the 4th round who gets that double kill to open things up. And then later on, he does it again at that A bomb site. So he was the critical player that really allowed Fnatic to establish the economy early on in this half and just kind of steamroll it. And now just so this pick up the pace, Get Right gets caught out by a flash. He thinks that smoke is going to cover him, and it's not.
And it's just relentless from Fnatic. They are not easing off the pedal at all. Olaf Meister is the executioner right now.
And this is the same style that made Fnatic the best team in the world for such a long time, is once they had that advantage, then it almost, some of the plays they make just feel like arrogance. Coming through that smoke with one flashbang catches the defense off guard, and then everyone is available for fights. It's not about playing smart, it's not about playing for the post plan, it's about just getting on top of the boxes in the bomb site and dominating your opponent into submission.
Yeah, it's a scary Fnatic to be looking at. It's still early, it's the first game in groups, I'm not going to read too much into it, but there's small, I guess, indicators, the signifiers are there that this is looking a little bit scary for these guys. They could certainly string a couple of games together if they keep up like this. But for now, 4 alive, bomb plant, round on the board. This sounds like a bit of a rinse and repeat, and well, Freiburg will at least get a little bit of bank in the pocket and deny a couple of players, but still, money's there, it makes very little odds, but for him, I guess it's something.
I mean, we're past the point of those moral victories, right? It's now the last round of the half. They're going to have that M4 on Freiburg or on whoever decides to utilize it, but you could see dropping UMPs, upgrading to a CZ for Get Right, a scout on Exist. This is not looking good for NiP. They would love to have this 3rd round, but I don't think there's much within their arsenal this round that you could say is going to bring it to them. Oh, and Olaf almost catches that. There's the kill from Exist, though. Opens up on JW. Olaf trying to find something, but another 5-on-4 for NiP.
Question is, was that through smoke? But actually, we'll hold that thought. So far, Forest will at least find 1 over as well at B, so the aggression paying off there.
Well, you're at the point. You can see how much Forest had to commit through that smoke where you're just like, well, we need this round, so let's just do some crazy things. And he finds the kill. So advantage now for NiP, 5-on-3. We've seen this before. We've seen Fnatic come back from it, but at the moment, you know, Dennis is in mid, Crims is at the A bomb site, or he's not even over towards door, just watching for pushes, very passive. They've got to try and find a kill, and Get Right, he could surprise here, but if they find this, it could be the start to get back into this round for Fnatic, and Get Right sees the shadow. He knows this is coming, but he can't win the fight anyways.
And even for NiP mentally, you've got to hope that they win this round. You don't want to lose a 5v3, even though the weaponry and everything else sits with Fnatic.
And this is now very bad from NiP. They have a 2-man advantage, and you see these are 2 easily equalized for Fnatic. It's 2 players from NiP pushed up with pistols, and they've been equalized, and there's no ability to trade here. It's just Fnatic playing passively, and NiP just obliging them by getting aggressive into the crosshairs. No reason not to sit back and make sure every kill that comes out for Fnatic is in a situation where NiP can trade it off. Now they don't have any knowledge of really what's coming.
Yeah, this is rough. And you see them. They can't commit to one site particularly. They're going to have to gamble and go towards A, but it is the right choice at this point. Pit and Exist are the first two on the scene, but a Scout and the UMP. Not ideal, but it can be made to work, and Pit's going to do just that. He'll at least find one, and time is starting to tick. 7 seconds left. This has to be a proper plant. There can be no hesitation, and the retake comes in, but surely they're going to win. No! Flusher's still alive and kicking, and he closes. What a shot from Flusher. That is filthy, my friend, and Fnatic just look phenomenal so far. NiP, I've got to say it, I'm a little worried, and that's a face that summarizes the feeling. Guys, we're going to take a break. NiP need to mentally reset. The Fnatic Phoenix rising from the ashes so far, 13-2 in their opening game at IEM Katowice 2017. Not the start NiP are looking for.
Yeah, that didn't go according to plan at all. You could say 2-13. Now they did get beat up individually by some of the players. JW had a very good half. Olaf Meister obviously phenomenal impact. But I mean the real story is NiP. The 2 rounds they win, they just can't string them together. They lose the ones immediately following, and from there, I mean it's just save situations. And on the CT side, that's how you get to a scoreline of 2-13. Some phenomenal clutches as well. JW with the 1-on-3, Flusher there at the end with that 1-on-2. I mean, this is the we could talk all we want about NiP not getting the start they wanted, but this is that scary Fnatic. That's very reminiscent of it. Now it is against an opponent who's had their own struggles, so we'll have to see what it's like going forward. But this is what made Fnatic. The individual plays were there, the subtle teamwork, the hive mind was there for Fnatic, and the clutches were just brutal.
Yeah, and if you're NiP, you've got to be wondering, why are we on cash? What have we done? But you've got to live with your choices, I guess, at this point. Exist, the man on the T side now to be setting up the play, and we are underway in the second half, so we can get this one on your screens and ready to go. It's already a quick smoke, I can imagine, can be put down towards mid, and it looks like NiP just want to get this one started. A massive split towards A about to come in. 3 players straight through mid. Well,
they're about to run into 3 players at the A bomb site for Fnatic. Yeah, this could get ugly. There's Crossfire set up. Force wins the initial, and there's Exist as well. Are they going to expect JW? They didn't, but he can't land anything, and when you have so many Glocks coming at you like that, and now look at NiP just in the open, taking these fights and winning them. This could be a clean sweep for NiP. Still a long way to go for them, but no chance of Dennis, who is probably the best pistol player we have in the world, but this is too tall of a task.
Yeah, the pistol arrow can't do it this time, but yeah, it looks like there's been a fire lit under NiP in that round. Certainly had an intention in mind and just went for it. There was no brakes on that train. It was a straight rush. And, it got a little bit worrying when you look at the map and you're like, there's 3 players. You don't expect the third.
That pistol round was like straight out of like a pro 10-man. Just 3-man rush middle, get boosted over, just get up highway as fast as possible.
They need rounds on the board, Jason. If this is what they have to go to, this is where they're going. All right, but let's see if they can finally string 2 rounds together. It's been something they've not been able to achieve so far. 3 rifles on the board, 2 UMPs, good amount of utility to play with, and Fnatic going in on the buy here, so looking to do some work. They've got the Deagles there, a couple of CZs, nice little 5-7, but not like set piece. We saw a couple of made plays towards B from Fnatic on their CT side when they're, NiP on their CT side when they were trying to get some kills on the board and try and do some damage, but didn't work out for them, so a little bit different from Fnatic.
There's Olaf with the Deagle pushing up, trying to find a pick, and Freiburg just waiting for it, an angle that perhaps Olaf wasn't expecting. So, good start for NiP. Another opening kill. They have had, I have mentioned this a couple of times, they've had a lot of opening kills in this match, which is just so crazy to think that they're down by this much, considering that. Still not choosing where to go quite yet. They've at least stopped the aggression from Olaf. And Smoke Wall in middle is going to perhaps pull Crims a little bit off that A bomb site in preparation for this hit.
Yeah, I quite like that. I guess it shows like, oh, maybe we're going B, but here comes the hit towards A. So there's still 2 players pretty much dedicated towards it. Crims didn't move too far, but JW was the main sort of stop of this. But Crims will find 1, but that's about it so far. And none of the other Fnatic members are that close now. Bomb's going to go down. Forest is a little vulnerable, but beyond that, they're doing okay. They can recover the rifles that they've lost if required at this point. But nice little dink from Freiburg, just backhanding Flusher back.
Yeah, he doesn't want to mess with that. And even Dennis has already made the save call. I mean, it's just a Deagle armor, but we know what they can. We know what those Deagles can do, especially in the hands of Dennis. So NiP is going to be happy with this, and with 3 AK-47s, they don't have any real. I mean, you don't want to risk those chasing down just pistols. So they're going to be happy with this win. Forest is too low as well with the UMP to go for any kind of attack. So they know next round that they're going to be facing some upgraded pistols, a couple players on the Fnatic side with armor, but. Overall, a nice job from NiP. The opening kill onto Olaf, the smoke wall to kind of pull a little bit of the defense away, works just a little bit as Crims kind of sidesteps to a little bit more of a different position at that A site, and then they take over the bomb site with ease.
Good news so far for NiP. This is fine. Okay, the scoreline is disgracefully one-sided at this point, but for NiP, it has to be that mentality of round by round. We just go through this, we string it together, we'll be fine. This so far is good for them. They just need to keep building up, they need to build off this. Fully invested. Forest still on the UMP, but that's fine. There's those 2 upgraded pistols with the armor on Fnatic. They're the damage dealers, they're the threat on the board. There's Dennis and Flusher. 2 known for these pistols, to be fair. You got the CZ with Flusher and Dennis with the Deagle. So there's a lot of threat on the board here. Now timing could be a problem there for Olaf, but he gets the info, backs away, and he actually keeps his life as well.
He's only got a USP, so I mean, he's challenging here. Okay, there's a nice dink damage done to Freiburg.
What are you saying about only having USP?
I know, I was going to it's just like, why are you doing this? Let the Deagles go for it. But, I mean, Olaf, I guess there's no real risk in theory with that. JW spots 2 in A main as well. So he's going to fall back into the side. He gets away. There's the Deagle from range at Truck. And I mean, NiP's seen that, and they're still rotating all players over towards A. There's 4 members of Fnatic here base. This is the information play as well. Olaf is pushed all the way through B. He knows this is coming A. This is actually a little bit dicey for NiP. They still have massive advantage. There's the Molotovs raining out, and I don't think actually Fnatic can do anything because of that utility.
Now, this is something we've seen before from them. Flusher sure will get 1, but that's it. There is nothing more to be seen. Olaf did some good damage at the start, but beyond that, this is a round that, well, NiP pulled back in line. I start to get worried. If they've just gone for a little bit of a here, there, hit going in 1 by 1, just a little bit disjointed by any means, you can see Fnatic pulling it apart. You can see that happening, but that's what I wanted to see from NiP. Those molly hits that we've seen become a little bit classic for them now. Yeah,
and even though it's an anti-eco or a little bit of a force buy, if they don't use those Molotovs, that could be a loss. But I mean, those are the things. That's a round that greatly highlights what NiP is going to have to deal with on the gun rounds. Is that kind of mid-round aggression? If they're not going to be able to punish Olaf, if he's picking the right timings for that push, for that information, if there are 3 M4s, in that Fnatic lineup at that A bomb site, there's definitely Fnatic has a huge advantage on that hit. So NiP's got to be very, very careful moving forward about how Fnatic on the defense is going to be moving across the map.
Already looks like we might see some aggression from JW and Crims over by A main. He's going to have a little bit of a peek down early. Yeah, and playing in Crims as well. So going to already start to define the map as their own on the CT side, but that's neither here nor there for now. But I can imagine later on that could be an issue. But look at B, Get Right Freiburg working their way in. Olaf Meister at the back of Checkers though. This could be a problem. Flusher's got the cross as well, so we'll see how this one pans out. This could swing either way right now. Great flash in, but the trade's surely going to come through. Get Right is there and keeps it safe, but still 4v4 at the moment. Fnatic still have aggression throughout the map. Crims slowly working his way up. This could go either way.
Yeah, but the trade kill indicates there's more than just that one kill from Olaf, so that's why Dennis rotates over in Forest. This is a lot of room given up to him. We saw Olaf Meister with these similar plays, and Forest is going to copy him. Meanwhile, there is still Crims pushed up in A main, and Pit's not expecting that whatsoever. That's the benefit. That's the thing that NiP didn't spot at the beginning of the round, so now they're in a very, very tough spot.
You got Flusher basically playing CT. He doesn't need to do anything. He's just watching for pushes and allowing Dennis and Crims, who are behind NiP, to do something. But Exist is aware. He's smart. He's turned around. He checks for Dennis, and he finds him. But Crims, would you expect this again? Crims actually won't find them. They're going B.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit of a mistake, I think, from Dennis. Maybe just a little bit too aggressive with the knife out, making the footsteps. I mean, they had Crips pushing A as well. He didn't feel any pressure, so I'm not sure what inspired Dennis to get that aggressive. But either way, 2-on-2. This is a round that Fnatic has a great chance of pulling back into their favor. There is no kit, but get right. Flusher's not expecting that whatsoever. And it's Crims. He is dangerous in these scenarios, but again, no kit. He's got to do this quickly.
Just keep listening to that bomb ticking. Get Right's repositioned. He's not playing CT. He's playing up in heaven now. Crims is going to check it at some point, but he's crouched under it. This is smart, but utility is still with Crims. He's not got much time, though, and he's going to go for the smoke on the bomb and just go for this. He fakes it out, goes back in, and again, comes off it, but Get Right does not let this slip. Finally, we see that solid player coming through. 2 big kills towards the end there for him. And he's starting to build into the game because he was absent for that first half.
Yeah, he was absent for a lot of it. And now, yeah, 8 kills for him. 3 there in that round, critical for them to get on the board. That's the 4th round in their favor. So this is what they have to do to Fnatic. They have to keep this economy in check. And so far, they've done it with the investment on the 2nd round. Fnatic, I mean, they can't buy here. They do upgrade some Deagles. That was a very, very sketchy mid-round of that 3-on-3. Players all across the map in weird positions.
A little bit unique, a little bit dangerous. Sounds a lot like Fnatic. So at the moment, you've got to say it though, NiP are doing what they need to. This is simply them taking those steps up that little bit of a mountain they have to climb here. Looking at that 13 rounds, they're doing just fine. 6-13 at the moment, as you highlighted as well. Money's kept in check for Fnatic. They're not being able to make these rounds too costly yet. They're keeping it a little close, but at the moment, this is fine. NiP need to keep this clean, though. Throughout this game, they can't suffer these losses to these upgraded pistols and armor on Dennis and Crims.
This is very weird timing for Olaf to get here, and I think Get Right spotted it like an elbow at the last second. So, yeah, he definitely did. If he's using a Molotov, he definitely saw that coming, and there it is. Freiburg punishes, but that's a big assist to Get Right for that one. That's not going to show up on the scoreboard. Nice Molotov usage. JW pushed up in A as well again. So aggression from Fnatic on some of these rounds individually to find positioning.
NiP not instantly committing towards B either. Being cautious, being careful. They know there's still threats across the board here, and JW being one of them tries to get a bit of a play going through main. Not going to happen there. Pit will find him. Information gathered, sure, but there's still 2 players on this B side. That's a little worrying. It's Dennis and Flusher as well. One falls, but will they play into the other? Now Flusher can't make it happen. NiP keeping 5 alive, getting the bomb site, getting the bomb down, and Pit should be able to find Crims at the very end here.
Yeah, not a whole lot for him to do. Easy long-range kill, no casualties for NiP, so that's great for them, building up some of that money. They're now starting to put together a very, very good T side, but they're probably going to get caught off guard a little bit by the switch into the double op setup for Fnatic. JW's got one, Olaf has the other. We know the double op on the CT side cache can be so very effective. The question is, how aggressive or passive is NiP going to be in this round, because they need to be very, very cautiously how they've probed into these bomb sites.
Already watching this as well. If they play into this, this could be a problem.
Yeah, and that's a good smoke to block it off. No smoke as well from the CT side at the beginning as well usually indicates there's going to be an op towards this B bomb site.
So far, Olaf kind of playing to the tune that NiP are setting there with the smokes, the mollies, but he backs away. He's done with that. That's
such nice utility usage. 1 smoke, 1 Molotov neutralizes all the danger early on from Olaf. Now, they still have JW to deal with over towards the A bomb site. And they still haven't seen these ops ring out any shots, so they don't know they have them, but at the moment they're handling it very nicely.
1 minute 13 remaining. JW starting to get a little antsy. Tries to find a bit of a deeper angle towards A main. Knows there's players nearby, but really no commitment from NiP. It looks like they may be looking towards that B side, but we still have Olaf Meister there. You still have Dennis there. Flusher a quick rotate too, so this could be tough for them.
Big change, by the way, noticing that Fnatic, no longer having Crims at this B bomb site. He's been over towards A in this half. So maybe a little bit of some of the changes that we've seen Fnatic talk about in interviews and on Twitter. At the moment, though, NiP now starting to slowly encroach over here. And Dennis in a little bit of a sneaky position. How long? I'm wondering if he's going to stay here through the full length of the smoke.
He's going to certainly hear all these steps. That's Nice for him to be trickled back through the information now pouring through the Fnatic side, but Exist is going to find it, but now Olofmeister has to make the impact happen with the AWP, and uncharacteristically they're missing a shot, and it does allow for the trade to come through. Forest now, with Exist, all pouring through towards the side. Bombs there, bombs going down. No problem seen so far. Get Right, a worthy sacrifice for the round to be playing into their hands like this. Now Crimson JW pretty much locked out at this point.
Yeah, and this is going to have to be a save. I mean, JW is so far away from even this B bomb site with the AWP, so he just wants to bring that into the next round. Crims is left here. He's got a kit, but 2-on-4, and the save call is already made. Nicely done from NiP. They find Dennis, and that just leaves Olaf in such an awkward position as that smoke fades. That's the danger of that spot that Dennis is playing. People are wise to it now that you can check it, just, you know, running up against that wall. I mean, even Dennis trying to do everything he can to look into the wall to hide his gun barrel, and it's not going to work. So Fnatic fighting to save these weapons, and there's JW, 2 kills, and that's an awkward switch. Free kill for Freiburg.
Crims can't stay alive, but damage dealt, but money is now going to start becoming an issue for Fnatic. They have been doing these massive investments. They went for the double AWP, and now they're back down to 3.9.
This is, and I know, you know, you could have brought this up earlier. You know, there's a lot of people, I know a lot of the analysts have always talked about, we talk about a lot in the green room, is when you have a 13-2 lead, why are you investing in that second round? Because that's just one of those things that puts your economy in a very tough spot. The 4th round buy isn't as good as it could be. Why not just go into the first gun round and be as solid as you can? Either way, they make the investment. It's a little bit late in the day to be talking about that one, but you can see NiP is just abusing the economy that they have, much like Fnatic did it in the first half.
This is perfect for NiP. These are the building blocks that can take them back into this game. These rounds that we're seeing coming through, clean, crisp, well-defined, good approach, and now not falling for the same old tricks. Flusher's got behind them somehow. That's a problem. Somehow he slipped through the net, and somehow he's just strung together 2 incredible shots and some completely unaware ninjas. So now the 3 players remaining from NiP are kind of scratching their heads as to what's going on, because Crims is still a threat on the board, only 6 HP though, so Pitwall sweeping to the side. And now these sort of threats that are weaving their way through the map are being dealt with, but there's still Flusher.
Not bad from Flusher, the 2 kills. Thankfully, it's on a round like this where NiP can recover from that kind of a mistake, from not watching for that kind of a push, but either way, not able to salvage an AK, and more than anything, not even trying to grab one and just save it out for the next round. We just talked about how much of an advantage NiP has in terms of the economy, and saving an AK for Flusher might have been a good boon moving forward, or a good benefit for them, and he's just going to fall here to Pit. 9-13, NiP, I mean, it's still a bit of a ways to go, but you could say they're back into this one.
These shots, just so crisp. If there's anyone you want with a CZ in that position, doing
It's
that
Flusher,
sort,
yeah.
it's going to be Flusher, and you can see why, but... And there's the pause. I can imagine this is surely going to be Fnatic's called in.
Yes. Fnatic, I mean, just saying, all right, I mean, this is interesting as well, because we didn't see one from NiP in the first half when they were
Just
getting
a little
battered.
unique.
Yeah, so Fnatic taking the pause. There's legends built around these pauses. There are stories for the ages from these pauses. So this is where NiP maybe has got to say, all right, now, you know, we've gotten to this point, but now the real battle begins coming out of this. So we'll see what Fnatic is going to change up out of this pause. Sometimes it's not even anything tactical. Usually with Fnatic, it's just let's just take a second, and they go right back to the double op setup. So very, very big investment in terms of their money, in terms of their economy. Another big round. If NiP can win this, it's going to have to be another save, because the double op is such an investment of your money.
God, this is playing with fire here, Fnatic. Going right back in on this. Okay, maybe they have a feeling that this is what they need. This is the answer to the problems. Maybe they just don't care for a game going this close. We'll see how they handle the pressure. They're a team who's known for this sort of thing. So again, until I see some team literally getting onto that 16th round, winning it out, there's always danger with Fnatic specifically. They can pull back games from any margin, it feels like, but at this point, they're still in the lead. NiP are the ones on the comeback.
We've seen a very restrained JW as well with this AWP. He had the great first half where he was largely on the AK-47, but the previous round he had an op, yeah, he was doing just exactly this. In the A bomb site, just holding from quad, and part of this is because, one, he's got no backup. So, he's just here to kind of see if anything is going to happen, while meanwhile Fnatic has good mid control, and Dennis and Olaf, they're going to be the ones as the aggressor over towards the B bomb site. A lot of talk about that duo of Olaf and Crims historically, but it seems in this Fnatic, it's Dennis and Olaf who want to be the new tag team, the Bash Brothers.
Yeah, problem being though, Get Right is a bit of a specialist at playing towards B himself. Now, that may not mean much in this game if he's going to underperform, but we'll see if it comes through. In the end, though, JW been kind of reminded there is presence towards A main and a step out from Forest, easily playing into the hands of JW there.
Yeah, there's the pick, and meanwhile, Olaf got pretty aggressive out towards B and spotted nothing. The timing wasn't with Get Right, but there's Freiburg. The response into mid. Krims falls. This leaves a big gap in the defense. They're going to have to be careful. 2 at A, and the defense is split. Dennis is very passive, and there's one more kill from Exist. They're going to start coming into this A bomb site. Flush has got to do work behind this smoke.
Flusher, what can you do? He's holding the very, very edge, but Exist again, providing massive kills, but look at the HP it's low, but Dennis can do nothing but die, and Pit Freiburg will secure the round, and Fnatic being taken all away now. All right, 10-13, money again goes down. That double hop going right back around. This is a bit of a story for the Ninjas now.
Yeah, and it's all based off that control. That one kill from Freiburg onto Krims opens up middle, really starts to make that A defense feel awkward. And as well, he just pushes forward. He knows there's going to be a gap in the defense. He knows the next one up is going to be rotating from the B bomb site. And he's there timed perfectly to cut off that rotation, get that one single kill. And Fnatic, outside of that one opening pick, they really haven't had a lot of success early on in any of these CT rounds. I talked a little bit when we had some time before this game started as some of the aggression, some of the plays they could make on the CT side. We haven't seen any of that. This has been a much more reserved defense from Fnatic than we're used to seeing.
And I'm waiting for the switch to just flick, right? I'm waiting for Fnatic to take back control. It's just not happening yet. Now, okay, this starts a bit different. They've actually got the first kill here. The flash in doesn't actually work that well. Forrest completely fine. Doesn't go deep enough. He was sat behind the box anyway. And he's picked up the kill and no play in for JW.
They've been more aggressive on these pistol buys throughout this half than they have been on the actual gun rounds. So going for some of those Hail Marys with the Deagles, with the CZs, and it hasn't translated to any kind of upset wins in these rounds, but NiP storming back into this 10-13, a good chance to make it 11. Smokes are going to block off JW and Flusha from mounting any real defense. Just a prayer as he shoots through the smoke. Flusha, here's that CZ again, and he gets one. He's got to reload, and he has plenty of time. There's no trade coming in, so they can delay this a little bit.
Oh my God, Flusha.
Yeah, almost was able to do it. The AK stops him, though.
He's a terrifying player. Really is. Just goes for it. All right, so now 2 remainders. JW, Olaf probably don't have much play back into this round. This should be a shutout by NiP. Bombs planted. They're a little locked on the other side, but you have no armor. You have 1 Deagle and a USP. This shouldn't go any further. This should be fine, but JW has other ideas. Makes it costly. And now, any more to follow? No. Well done, Get Right. Not going to let it slip too far away. And Fnatic keep it dangerous, but it doesn't matter how dangerous this is. It's still 11-13. NiP are starting to knock on that Fnatic door saying, guys, we're about to be even with you.
I mean, this is the tale of terrorist halves, obviously. Great offenses from each of these teams, but it's been done in different styles. Fnatic's was a little bit more just overwhelming and dominant. NiP is just kind of the classic fundamental, hit the bomb site, get the entry, make sure the trade kills are coming in, and just kind of work your way into that site based on fundamentals. So they're making it work, and this double op setup has largely been neutralized. It's interesting to see Fnatic still sticking with it.
Some people don't want to be saved, and at the moment, Olaf Meister, this time not going to back away from the mollies that were put down. Now he has to. He has to respect that, give up Checker's control. That could be now given over to NiP. They've not actually pushed it just yet. Re-smoking towards the entrance. Freiburg going to work his way through. And this is the kind of set B hit that we've seen coming through and being very effective. Last time, Dennis' position did not work. This time might be a different story, but the flashes are coming through thick and fast. And now Dennis does get played in finally. Finds Freiburg, and NiP held off now. Dennis goes back in again, but merely to be met by Forest. And now down to a 2v3. Finally, it looks like Fnatic have got control of this round, but Exist has been a beast so far. It looks like he doesn't want to lose that reputation just yet. Spots out Krims, but will he expect 2W? Orb comes in, you certainly don't.
Oh, what a little bait and switch from JW and Krims. Probably not even organized, but Exist thinks he's going to be battling an M4, so he's taking that fight, willing for it, because it's a headshot angle, and JW surprises. Pit now in a 1-on-2. This time, Fnatic, they get the cheat on the rotation with Flusha coming over. You could see, I mean, Fnatic just decides to throw bodies at the problem. Dennis gets down, gets a dink, and now Pit's been spotted in mid. And that's tough. He wanted to go all the way back towards A, so now his plans have been ruined.
Krims has rotated towards A. JW's playing sandbag in mid. JW didn't see him cross back over towards B. Now, this might actually just allow him at least a bomb plant, right? This gives him a chance at it, but the retake is so favorable still to Fnatic here.
I mean, here's the thing, JW, they could just double up in vents, but as soon as this plant goes down, JW, I don't know if you can hear it from there, I don't believe so because he hasn't stepped up, but they know they've got him isolated in the site. If JW went out those vents, which he didn't actually, so now they don't have the information of where Pit can be. Now he's coming through vents at the moment, and he's going to wait for this peek, and this is the danger, and there it is. Obliges. JW patient with the op, knows that Pit's got to try and make a play. And that's a good win for Fnatic. They've got their 14th first round of this half on the board for Fnatic on the defense.
How late do you want to leave this, boys? But it's a round nevertheless. They get it on the board. Job done. Started a little bit worrying, but Flush's deny was huge.
That's the thing. I mean, he just gets aggressive with Dennis with the M4. And Olaf in the bomb site, you could see him force back, and he actually gets mostly burned by a Molotov. He didn't have anything to extinguish it, and then you add in the AK fire, and he falls. But, I mean, Dennis goes for the kill, gets the dink, and Flush just says, I'm going for it. They're not going to expect this whatsoever. That's what I mean by throwing bodies at the problem.
Well, bodies they have. And well, the other thing they have is another round on the board. NiP being reminded, this doesn't come for free. And now Olafmeister getting confident. And that pays off. Finally, he gets the pick to start things off with. It seems to all fall into place. And they are working with a UMP still on Flush. Certainly known for his capability. And look at this again.
That was a brilliant play from Olaf, though, because they've been forcing him back with the smoke in that main choke point, the Molotov out towards Checkers. This time, he pushes all the way out towards the box so that Molotov actually goes behind him. GetRight thinks he's safe like he has been for the entire half when that kind of a utility is used, and Olaf just kind of says, not this time. He goes for that kill. He hunts it down. Big advantage for Fnatic in the 14th round, or in their attempt at the 15th round.
Yeah, we'll see if anything's going to swing this one back into NiP's favor. Gearing up to what looks like the A hit to come in pit. Already over by Squeaky. You've got two towards main. Freiburg playing a little bit late. Could be just setting up something at the moment. Maybe watching for that flank that could be very, very likely. But here comes the plays, and JW is still in position. Timing. Waits for that third second. Goes back in. Oh, that was close. But now the mollies come raining in. This becomes a problem. A well-constructed hit, but it doesn't matter when GW is still doing that through smoke. Now, 3 players remain for the T side here. Exist snuck his way towards the side, but there's problems left, right, and center. Alleviating some of that was Freiburg. There's the follow-up, 33 seconds, and Exist comes alive. That's 2 big kills, leaving JW to handle it all. 1v3, 27 seconds, and just too much on one man's hands. And he crumbles. NiP pull it back from the brink.
I'd love to be able to see where Freiburg got that kill in the mid-round, because one thing that's that he's been doing so excellent in the second half is controlling mid. I mean, he's the player who's gotten some of the mid picks earlier on and just abused the fact that mid. But I mean, NiP has had mid control whenever they've wanted it on this T side. Fnatic really hasn't put up too much of a fight, mid to late round in some of these. And I mean, that's the nightmare for Fnatic. This late in the half, 14-11, you lose that after winning one round, so now you're reset at 14-12. NiP. This is a chance to equalize things at 14-14 now.
Fnatic playing this by the seams of their pants at this point, but NiP looking so well controlled. I'm so impressed with how they're playing back into this. Normally you don't see someone like Exist and Freiburg pulling back in those kills, making up the odds, and getting some good info here, but gets absolutely decked by Olafmeister. Not good. But they might force a response now from the other boys. The bomb's still in mid though, so Freiburg still has to play a pretty integral role at this point, and you're still playing in towards Fnatic holding angles, which can be a bit of a problem, but at the moment, nothing comes through. Damage, but damage doesn't always equate to the kill at this point. And Exist shuts it down. And a man's name that you don't often say that often in this lineup in comparison to the others, in a good light, I guess, is Exist, and he's having a big game.
And every time Exist has had a good event, NiP has gone deep. I mean, he's one of those players where if he shows up, it just adds so much firepower to this NiP team. So 13-14 now, and it remains to be seen if Fnatic want to force into this. When they do, they don't want to give up the advantage that they have, that round advantage. They're going to go for it, and this is very, very risky. I mean, UMP is out, 2 FAMAS as well. We don't see those weapons come out too often these days with how powerful a UMP can be, but Fnatic investing into this round. They want to get up towards 15, but this is a good chance. If NiP can win this, they can almost steal this match away from Fnatic somehow. As unlikely as it has been, the comeback is here.
This is what I love about Katowice. It somehow provides games like this. I don't know how it happens, but it just feels like it does. NiP, after having an absolutely battering on the first half, have recovered. Something you don't often say with NiP either at the moment. And look at that. Yeah, I think that tells the picture pretty well. And, well, at the moment, you can see NiP just waiting back, seeing if there's something being made here. Is there a play being created? Is there something trying to be brewed here by Fnatic? And so far there is. A little bit of a B presence, but nothing more than Olafmeister showing some presence. Very close.
We've seen this Olaf versus GetRight duel over towards the B-bomb site so much in this half, and this has got to be just knowledge of Fnatic on how NiP plays this map, because, I mean, they got to have the knowledge that GetRight pretty much watches it very, very far back on his own, so chances to be aggressive, chances to find a pick, and Now it's up to JW at Forklift.
But it's a stack towards Forklift. You've got Crims there as well, so both of them playing it, maybe feeling this is how they get around the molly execute that they've been doing, and maybe it's going to work? No. Quickly swept over by Exist, just pushing his way through towards the site. More aggression now on the forefront. Flusher just dives in with the UMP, and it works out, actually. And my God, does it work out? Exist falls. Now it's down to 2v2. Freiburg and Get Right, you've got to pull this one back together, and Flusher is having none of it. 3 now for him. Get Right, dig deep and pull this one back for NiP, or it's Fnatic looking good in this one, and there we go. First to fall is Flusher, and the adjustment can't come in. Olofmeister playing on the verge of that smoke from Highway will get Fnatic to 15 rounds.
And this is why the UMP is so powerful at the moment, and this is why there's been plenty of calls for this weapon to be changed at the moment, because you could see Flusha, the mobility it allows him, changing up his position after every kill in these fights, not having to slow down whatsoever. Even when he's at a disadvantage versus an AK-47, the fact that he can move and shoot provides such a powerful position. Somehow he just takes that one away. NiP even boxing in the stack, and now look at the aggression. Fnatic, they want to switch things up. Get Right, I think he heard the footsteps. He knows this is coming. JW is going to commit to it anyways. Gets away with his life. Now he's got to fall away. He's lost that duel down to 46 HP. No damage really given out in return. Get Right only taking 7 points of it. So 3 players here for Fnatic. They wanted to be aggressive, but it's been slowed down, but they're not leaving.
Yeah, they are not relenting on this. Look at them still pushing right into the eyes of NiP. Brazen aggression coming through, but Freiburg's found at least Dennis so far, but they're not stopping, it's still there! Olofmeister playing up by the box, in checkers now at JW, they want to fall back, they desperately want to back away from this now. Reset everything, because look how low they are on HP.
I mean, that's just so Fnatic. You've lost this battle for map control. And even still on the CT side, you're in a 4-on-4. That's disadvantage for you as well, with Olofmeister only having 13 HP. He doesn't have a whole lot of options of what he can do later on in this round. Very, very low at NiP. They've given up a lot of the map control they had over towards mid and A. 3 players now towards B. It's going to be Pit coming late, watching for some kind of push, and it looks like NiP just wants to go right at this B bomb site, but Fnatic has this red.
Yeah, JW is playing on a knife's edge here, just waiting for a bit of a play to come through, and here we go into the Lion's Den, and you don't expect to not get a couple of claw marks on you, and there we are. Forest, Get Right, find the kills, and now Olofmeister, can you do anything? Gets 1, but it's not enough against 4 players that were remaining. And now Crims, near on impossible at this point. Exist is going to get the bomb down any second. And Pit just about manages to keep his life with a little bit of a sidestep.
It'd be interesting to see if Crims even goes for this. I think he needs this 1 kill if he wants a chance at it. I think he's just going to back away, because last round was down into a 1-on-1. There's no money for the Fnatic side. They want this FAMAS. It's essentially the only rifle they'll have in the next round. So 14 to 15, NiP coming back from 2 to 13 in the first half to play for overtime. A curious decision by Fnatic in that round to just stay with that fight for so long. I mean, the crazy thing is they even read it correctly. They even brought a 3rd person after they lost one, or their 4th person, I guess it would be, over to that B bomb site to really go for it. And yeah, the flashbang, that peek from JW, just a little bit of a missed timing when he turns the corner. He had to turn for the flashbang and runs right by an NiP member. They just didn't have the defense capabilities at that B site.
This has to be going OT, surely. I hate to say it, but there's always danger. You know,
we've seen it before get to this point, and then yep, Pistols win the day.
It's not impossible, but you almost want NiP to close up towards 15. You want to get them on that point. I want to see the OT, if I'm completely honest. I want to see what happens when we go back into that even matchup, because Fnatic have been lacking money a lot. They've been punished severely for their lack of money throughout this half.
Both teams were on their CT side. It's just not really a whole, I mean, a lot of saves for both sides throughout the half. So, I mean, going into overtime when the start money is, I mean, you basically reset, right? So you don't really have the economic worries in overtime. So that would be intriguing, but Olaf again, aggressive towards this B site, again with the pistols. Oh, he even dinks Freiburg. He spotted the leg, I think. Freiburg might have just been spraying through the smoke just to be sure. I'm not sure if he spotted him, but damage done, but Olaf falls.
W next in line to fall. Let's see if NiP can do much with this one. Forest not giving up the angle, even though it's completely blind, still sprays into it. Tries to keep as much of this map as they can, but the deep smoke going to make it a little bit tricky, so again, has to respect this and look at NiP. Cautious, slow, careful. Neuron meticulous at this point, but will we see that double smoke towards mid? We are, but the problem is Flush is pushed up, so he knows if there's actually anything coming through this way, they don't have to buy into this at all. With Flusher this close, Crim's able to peek over as well. And it looks like so far, NiP are eyeing up that A site.
They have plenty of utility as well. You imagine this is just going to be another one of those executes where they can stay pretty safe in A main, just going to throw everything they've got. Molotov's out towards NBK corner, Molotov out towards quad, and there's one in the site as well. All of Fnatic funneled back behind these Molotovs. The hit is here, but everyone from Fnatic is here. Can they win this? There's Dennis with one, but trades are coming out. Meanwhile, Flush on the flank almost does it. Krims, he's got a Famas. No one you'd want in a one-on-two more to win this match. There goes Get Right into a one-on-one. Forrest is the last one left. 8 seconds left on the clock to bring his team into overtime. Krims now knows where he is. 5 seconds. Forrest has got to hurry this one up. Flashbang is out. Krims just trying to play the time, and he's going to do it.
Oh my God!
Krims just ruins the day of NiP. The comeback all the way down to lose it like that. Nothing more Fnatic than that round win.
I am left without words. That is the most defining victory of a Fnatic style that you can get. What a play from Krims in the end. Cool, calm, collected under pressure, but at the end of the day, it's heartbreak for NiP at the start of this group. Not what you want to see for them, but Fnatic, that's exactly what you need. Classic signs coming back in. We'll see if that continues later into the tournament.